BBC, and they are nowhere to be seen. The longest constitution is in India, and India is the most corrupt state ever. I mean, we have so many constitutions written around the place, and none of these countries are faring well. The US is a great example of constitution written here and so on. That's why my question is, do you believe that actually the constitution will not help, but we need to change the political system? I like your platform because that's a good way of addressing in some kind of legal way the political system in place. But I don't believe that the constitution is the thing which should be in place. And the other thing about, you mentioned that...
So what's the question? Can you change the political system?
No, the question is, do you believe that the constitution is the way forward in case none of the constitutions around for so long didn't any job? I mean, we have kind of played with constitution here. I mean, better with constitution probably, but without that. But there's no point to lose another 300 years to have constitution to try to do something with it. The other thing is, you asked the question, can we have a society without organization? I mean, think about how the lobbying groups operate and why they're there. Lobbying groups.
Lobbying groups, yeah.
Yes, I think they're there because they are this corrective which corrects the current political system. The fact that it doesn't have any feedback from anybody. The issue with the current lobbying system is that it's only skewed for few, not for everybody. That's why I like the vital ability to go and address the system. For example, to me, the best thing is to say, I don't want anybody to represent me and have a party with that title. Because so many people don't know for who to vote. And if we have, let's say, 4 parties in the country and like 250,000 independents, that will gonna point to, that's gonna be massive thing coming up from UK that people want to kind of represent themselves instead of leaving 600 guy representing all of them and getting that. Through constitution or without constitution, I think.
Right, as I said, the constitution is not a panacea. That's it not. Okay. What we're so unused to it, we don't know what it means and what it can do. We are simply not used to it. And it is actually not an obvious question at all. What goes in a constitution as opposed to what a government does? That is something I've never seen studied anywhere. Okay? But when you read the charter that the candidates will campaign on, it, for example, says in there, capitalism will go. How? Because there is an economic model called trusteeship, which is well established, it's not new, it's at least 100 years old, where businesses can be run in trust to the public interest. I was chair of one. Okay? There's 100 in this country, they're never talked about. There is no need for capitalism. Not necessary. This is one sentence in the Charter. There's another sentence that talks about land reform, another sentence of this. Clive will attest to these things. It must have 100 different aspects into the Charter. This goes in the Constitution as embedded, not subject to politics, not subject to government. Government controlled by the Constitution. Now, here's the thing. The Constitution must not be written in stone. Bad news. It's got to be a living document, always approved by the people in referendum. You have a process to stop picking it off, which is written in the Charter. You write the Constitution, you have a process for change. You define that process, you always put change to a referendum. And always, and this is written throughout the Constitution, every election is deliberative. People know what I mean by deliberative? We don't have deliberative elections at all. We have manipulative elections. Deliberative elections where there is a debate, there is education, and institutions like the BBC will be mandated to have open dialogue so that people can understand what the issue is. This is in the Charter. But I can't talk tonight about that because there's so much in it. I've tried to give you an idea of, one, change is possible, that people have to take responsibility, right? And two, you can have the change you want.
But you have to have the structure for change.
if we can have one quick
We
question
don't
from
structure.
Joe, because
Yeah, sorry.
we're going to adjourn to the pub afterwards, so you can bend Ray's ear till closing time. Joe.
Yeah, just one point. So you are taking this route because you see activism outside of politics is not able to change anything because of the power structures and the money that we were talking about this evening. But surely the same power structures and the same money is going to get in your way when you're trying to get representation in Parliament or God forbid, win a general election. You've got a plethora of problems there. You say yourself that you have no funding. So how are your candidates going to campaign? How are they going to produce materials? How are they going to get noticed by the media that are really not going to want to notice them? How are they going to get past the fact that we're first past the post system, which is incredibly unfair towards tiny parties or even parties like the Greens? Then, so I will go on for just one more second, then you've got even the Greens that can't find candidates in certain areas to stamp them, yet you're expecting 5 or 6 in each borough. Yeah, I mean, I see these as the same problems we face, just we're facing them on the inside rather than the out.
Can I actually cut you short there? Sorry to be so rude. You've asked a huge number of questions that were in my mind when I first heard about this. There's a lot of work gone into this. I would suggest that you join Ray for a glass in the pub if you're interested, because there's a lot that you need to learn about it, and I don't think we can do it justice in the time available. Sorry to cut you short. I just want to wrap up. I don't know about you. This evening went nothing like I expected. But it went better than I expected in many respects. I think I had in my mind something fairly sort of choreographed, and it happened nothing like I choreographed it. So that's good. That's people power in action. So I just want to round up by saying I will try to make sense of this. I hope you found it useful. I would ask you to, as the word about the 2015 constitution begins to expand, and I would try to understand it. I don't think it's the only way out of our solution. I'm not saying it's the way, but I think Ray has made a fairly convincing argument for trying it, because so many other routes head for a dead end. If you want a copy of the report when it comes out, if you're not on the list for Daily Pickings, which is a daily newsletter out of critical thinking, usually alerting people to articles that you won't see most other places, leave your name on an email list at the back. We've crowdfunded this room, which costs us £300. We've got £258 so far, so if you can afford to put anything in the box on the way out, it would be much appreciated. Anything over and above £300 will go towards the press launch of the Constitution's 2015 at Runnymede next week, which Ray currently is fronting for large sum of money. So anything over will put towards that. And thank you to Julie. She's kindly donated some cakes. So you can have a free-for-all for cake. I hope you found it useful. Critical thinking is primarily about collaboration. And if I've learnt anything through this, I came to Occupy in 2011 thinking I knew all the answers. If I've learnt anything from critical thinking, it's the value of groups like these where we discuss, exchange information, ideas. Nobody has all the answers. And we need to collaborate. If we're going to break that vicious cycle, we have to develop cooperative, community, organised systems of learning that enable people power to become supreme rather than minority. So thank you very much for coming. Armin, you've got a question?
Can I say something to the group?
Yeah.
When you hear Clive talk, you always talk about critical thinking as a group, which is true. But I think Alex and Janos would acknowledge that we need to thank Clive, who puts a lot of work behind it. So I think I just want to say that. Thanks, Clive.
Well, it would be nothing without everybody else. And I don't just mean the people who meet every Tuesday, but people from around the world. I get stuff sent to me from all over the world. So we can do this, we can do it together, but we need to share the information, share the ideas, and go change the world.
And the other thing is, I think you say something like